All right, we're going on the parable part 2. Like I said, still here. While that other video is uploading, I'm going to actually start the scammer parable. But before I do that, I'm going to conclude the scam email that Penn just suffered, because I actually wrote back. I wrote back twice. I tried to write back because I noticed that I responded back to the email address of the actual UPenn EBO. Oh no, they replied to somewhere else. Okay, I don't know. Because when I responded back, right, it went to something else. So they programmed, obviously they're smart enough. They programmed a way to receive responses back somewhere else. Because they obviously want to perceive how great their work is, and it's freaking extraordinary. So I wrote this back, and hopefully they can watch my videos and stuff, or find out who I am, right? This might pique their curiosity. Good morning, or I guess afternoon, depending on the time zone. Happy Halloween. It appears someone desires my attention on something, but what exactly that is, I'm unsure of. If only someone was able to explain the purpose behind demonstrating astounding skill, was willing to step forward to articulate their thoughts, I sure am curious to hear them. Again, I'm trying to appeal to this human because I recognize how extraordinary their life experiences are and their capacity to innovate and spread love across this planet, which I am coincidentally trying to do. And so they volunteer their services on this day, October 3rd, 31st, on Halloween, when I also kicked this all off coincidentally, all my videos. Okay. But also apologize to whoever from this university appears to have been hacked. It's unfortunate what occurs when people try to hide things that others perceive as shameful or embarrassing. Because honestly, I would love if they leaked all my data, because it shows that I was a dumb. It proves that, y'all, when I say I failed and I was put on remediation and I was not a shining star at Penn, I was a dumb, okay? I could totally classify as an affirmative action candidate that should have never got access to Penn. I was a human being that should have never been accepted to Penn based on my accolades and resume. Granted, I was from the Air Force Academy, however, my transcripts sucked. I had like a 3.28 GPA. And for people that are applying to professional school, right, especially in Ivy League or something like that, 314, 328, it was something bad, 334. That is not a good GPA for someone applying to go to dental school, to an Ivy League dental school. However, I was aware that my transcript was coming from a different label that superseded that number. Excuse me. Because if that number showed up in my, say, school, said AU, University of Auburn, and I had those scores, I did get a 21 on my DAT, the DAT, dental admission test, like the MCAT, which is a decent score, but I'm sure by this point people are getting 26, 27, 25, whatever weird things they do. Oh, on the only section that I did good on, actually, I literally took my shoes off and put my feet on the table when I was doing the reading comprehension section, because I was just like, this is an insult to me. I love reading, and I can comprehend things. I just read the paragraph once, and I don't ever have to reference it back, and I can just answer it. So that's what I did. I literally kicked off my shoes and did that, and I think I got in trouble. They're like, hey, you need to take your feet off the table. They came in, and I said, and then you put your shoes back on, because they thought I was cheating. And I was like, oh, okay. And so I took my feet off the table, I think, and I put my shoes back on. I was like, fine, it won't be as comfortable as I desire. And I ended up getting like a 28 on that section, and the score's out of 30. But overall I got 21, which is the highest I've ever gotten on anything. I didn't even finish the math section. I actually, one of my friends who was like a savant at mathematics, dude, I love their family. She was actually coincidentally from Boulder, 303. I love the 303. That's an area code in Colorado, if anyone's unaware. But she helped me because she got a perfect score on the SAT for math and ACT. This girl, she saw numbers. She spoke math. It was so extraordinary how well she was at math. She went on to be a pilot. You're welcome, Air Force, that you have a math savant flying your planes around. Especially with how y'all have treated her and her husband. Very disappointed on how y'all have treated her and her husband when you don't realize what a gift and opportunity you have walking amongst you. I digress. Okay, let me go on to my hacker story. Sorry, I'm going all over the place. Oh, that was me going back to being like, I hope someone releases all my records because I'm going to do it eventually. But I was like, guys, I love open vulnerability. This is exactly what the world needs. But I would like to release it on my timeline to go along. But I mean, I'm not receiving the impact that I desire for spreading positivity and achieving my dream of achieving world peace. Y'all. Anyways, how I befriended a scammer. So I received this beautiful scam email one day, back in May, apparently. It was in May, Sunday, May 4th. May the 4th be with you. So this all started on May 3rd, because this is the next morning. May 3rd, I got this email, and it was like an extraordinary scam email compared to what I'm used to. Because, you know, the usual things. And scam emails these days, guys, scam calls, out of control. How many people have gotten a phone call about their car insurance, or there's a new opportunity, or something like that? I had to block even the Red Cross. I used to donate blood. And they would call me, scamming me nonstop. And I'm like, guys, I labeled them as the vampires. Every time they called, I would delete it or I would block it, and I call them Red Cross vampires. We have evolved past a level of inconvenience. Scam emails, scam phone number, like scam calls, guys. You've caused an environment now where people don't want to answer the phone. How effective is your marketing? Are you achieving the results? People that utilize those tactics for marketing, scam, right? There's call centers. I receive so many emails these days. Ugh, call centers and just these stupid marketing campaigns. I'm like, guys, you're spending time, effort, and money utilizing these tactics that don't produce good outcomes. Innovate, change your approach. Because how much business did you actually achieve scamming people? Probably not much profit as you desire. Okay, let's just put it that way. You did not achieve as much prosperity or profit as you were hoping for utilizing the tactics that you are. So stop paying for telemarketing centers and cookies. This concept of cookies has gone overboard. We're getting close to a point where we're going to have a cosmic reset with technology, electronics at least, because guys, these tactics suck. Get more creative. No one enjoys receiving junk mail or things like that. People, it's very obvious. Some of the junk mail things have gotten more creative. I've scratched them. There's a cool scratch up, and you could win. And so I'll scratch them and I'll call the number, because every square wins. Because I want to perceive what they're trying to do. And when I call the system or you utilize it, they pigeonhole you into talking to a live person, because that live person is trained to make you invoke a state of fear or embarrassment where you get suckered into doing something. Which I love that technique again. I love it. Playing on emotions and fear, right? Because how many people have been like, oh, come just spin our wheel. Oh, this happened at the Home and Garden Show, which I coincidentally got a free thing to. Because you're aware of the places that market, they try to pull you in. There's a couple places. I was so disappointed. I saved their business cards, but I didn't target them. However, I didn't mention them. Like one of them was like, oh, come spin the squeal wheel and see what you get. Like there's a prizes, and there's like $100 off, free cruise, this and that. And I was like, I'm aware this is a scam. or a cheap marketing technique. And so I was like, let me play along so I can make a video of this later. I spun the wheel and he was like, oh my gosh, congratulations. Like, it says you landed on this and you can enter your phone number here, because they had all those iPads at every station, at a mobile setup. Again, this is how advanced technology has gotten, or available. How many people have gotten into this, right? You go somewhere, like, and this guy was like, oh, here, you can spin this wheel, and they had like a digital version. You're given a ticket. He was hitting up tickets. And he's like, all you need to do is enter that ticket number there and see if you won. And so I was like, okay, I'll do it. And it's like, also, you're gonna spin this free wheel, and we'll see what you won too. I said, okay. Completely uncorrelated, but again, do you see how you're pulled in to try to grab your attention and force you into a place where you feel too scared to reject the offer or reject their sales pitch? And so I was like, okay, and I spun the wheel, and I was like, you won like a cruise, a 3-day cruise out of like whatever this port is. I'm like, oh, how fun. It's like, yeah, that's awesome. Let's check your ticket number and see what else you won. Oh, this is great, or whatever. Pull the ticket number. Again, of course, you did the ticket number. I was like, hey, you just gotta fill this thing out. And I was like, okay, let me fill this out. Did all that. And then he was like, oh, congratulations. Oh, looks like you won this. Hey, let's come over here. I can actually give you a better deal. You won a 3-day cruise and you won this. So-and-so this, all for only like $100 or this and that. Like, all of a sudden there's a price included. And I've already entered my information to scan, right, to see what I want on my ticket. And I've already spun the wheel. And now he takes me over to this other table where he's doing the further sales pitch, where there's a lot of fine print there. But he's trying to invoke, being like, this is free. All you have to do is like put $50 down and like, this is yours. Like, what date do you want to go? It's like, oh, what date do you want to go on your cruise? Like, when are you free? Where would you like to go? That was the next thing. It's like, what destination would you like to go? What would you like for free? Would you like to go to Orlando? Would you like to go to this place or this place? And I listened to it and I said, oh, actually, those places all sound so extraordinary. Or whatever hotel. And I was like, however, this is a little too rigid for my curiosity. None of these options sound good to me. And he was taken aback. He was just like, oh, what do you mean? And I said, to be quite frank, none of these offers sound appealing to me. So I'm gonna decline. I loved it. My curiosity, however, takes me elsewhere, and I don't desire experiences like this, as far as what I define as vacation. And he was like, oh, okay, well, and he was so taken back. He was just like, okay, are you sure? And I'm like, oh, I'm very sure. I'm like, this is too rigid for me. This is too, when I define a vacation, it doesn't look like this. The experience I'm desiring, as far as what I define as complete immersion and rejuvenation. And he couldn't argue me. And I said, but I thank you. But I like a little bit more freedom and flexibility with my planning than what you have presented me for free. And I walked away. Again, because they assume by that point, you've invested, by this point, I've invested like 5 or 6 minutes of my time. I've stopped, I've entered my information, I did all these things. This is how marketing works. It's sad. Anyways, I digress. So this person, I was aware this wasn't like a corporate adventure. This was like a private dude. This is some human out there, for some reason, that needed monopoly money, that needed money. And to be fair, I call it monopoly money because that's what it is, guys. Money doesn't innately exist in nature, depending on your definition of nature, but it's a system we agreed upon that has value and meaning. And so when people actually I'm gonna tell this story. My dad is really big into investing. He taught himself, he did it all. My dad grew up, he came from upstate New York, he had nothing. He enlisted in the Army when he first was old enough to enlist. He barely missed the Vietnam War draft. And he missed it by like less than a year. But still he was inspired to go or whatever. He missed it by more than a year because his older brother barely missed it. Anyways, I'm getting off track. I made friends with a scammer. Okay, this dude sent me a very impressive scam email. I was on the HOA board. If anyone wanted to watch my red light video, they can watch it. I made friends with a scammer. Because the next morning, or finally I messaged him because I played with him a bit. Because I recognized it was a scam. There's very obvious things that you can perceive about a scam email. I've even gotten some really good phone calls, people posing as a police department. Oh, this is my favorite. I'm going to talk about all my scam stories where I entertain it. Because I love talking to people, right? Because behind every scam is a human. If you can perceive the human, you can have a whimsical time. So I usually, depending on what mood I'm in, I will answer the phone even though my phone alerts me saying scam. I answer it because I have fun. Oh, this is going to be a long parable. I have so many examples. Like recently, Texas had a hailstorm. Whenever Texas gets a hailstorm, companies that deal with roofing go ham because they recognize their opportunity. Because when hail hits Texas, right, everything's bigger in Texas, including the hail, including the hailstorms. So when they pop up, companies feast on their opportunity. And so that's when a lot of calls start coming in regarding roof replacement. And I was having fun with all of them. Until I got bored and I just stopped answering. But within like a week or two after that occurred, I got my first call and I was in Target. I remember shopping for a baby shower I was going to, coincidentally. And I was just bored and I was asking about it. And they called and said, hey, like this is so-and-so from roofing. And I was aware of the hailstorm because I filmed it because it was so awesome. It was a good hailstorm. It was a good one. Hailstorm, again, like I say, when hailstorms hit Texas, they're good. When intriguing weather patterns, abnormal weather patterns hit Texas, they're good. Good stuff happens. Like so many extraordinary things occur. Anyways, this person called me and they're like, hey, like we're doing roof assessments for the recent hail damage, blah, blah, blah. And we were wondering if we can come out for a free estimate. They said all my favorite buzzwords, free. Recent hailstorm. I'm like, oh, you're right. There was a recent hailstorm that is undeniable. Yes, I agree. My house, I was there. I observed it. I felt it. I experienced it. We're doing free. I love free things. Estimates for roofing things to see how the quality of your roof and if it was damaged. And I said, I love my house. You don't want to be aware of how much I've put into this house. Because I love it. And they said, how old's your roof? Is it over 5 years? Or they said their spiel, like, oh, if it's over 5 years old, like blah, blah, blah. And I said, oh, thank you so much for this opportunity. I have a question though. I'm unfamiliar with how old my roof is because I recently moved into this home and it hasn't been that long yet. And I'm unsure of how old my roof is. So why is the 5 years? Like, what's the difference of the 5 years? It's so peculiar. Why 5? And he tried to reason with me because I was already aware where this was going. I already realized they were just taking advantage of the recent hailstorm because of all the policies in place. Like even insurance can't argue it from a legal standpoint. Okay, this is how absurd the legal system has gotten. And he's like, well, because after 5 years, the hail damages more. Like they're more prone to damage, this and that. And I said, oh, really? Oh, that's such a fascinating thing to say, actually, because if you go to a car lot, like a car dealership, and when Mother Nature strikes, I'm pretty sure she doesn't avoid roofs that are over 5 years old. Can you imagine that? Like these roofs, oh, this roof isn't over 5 years. Don't drop hail over here. Don't drop hail on this list. It's like Santa delivering his naughty and nice list. Okay? It invokes the vibes of in the Old Testament when the angel of death came through and Moses was like, let my people go. And Pharaoh was like, no. And so finally on the final plague, they're going to kill all the firstborn. They're like, paint with blood around your door frames, lamb's blood at least. Thank goodness they clarified that. Paint without your door frame that will spare you if you have this blood literally from a lamb, from another life that you killed. Please paint this on here and we'll skip over your house. And it worked. The story says it worked, okay? Cool. So this guy, again, everyone grows up on these same stories. I did. So this business thought it was smart marketing. Actually, every business that called, for some reason, they all had the threshold of 5 years. So they said, this business was like, 5 years is our blood on the door. If we have 5 years is equivalent to blood on the door, what Moses did, what he instructed the people. So, in this modern day, the blood on the door for Passover was 5 years. That was the golden ticket to receive opportunity, to be spared from death. And so this company said, as long as your roof is over 5 years old, and every company after, whenever I asked them for clarification, I said, well, I'm not sure on the age of my roof, but so what age of the roof is required? They always made sure to quantify that anything under 5 years was fine. That was fine. I said, that's how odd is that? And again, I'm aware it's because of money, because insurance will not cover things that are under 5 years old. So, when he explained this to me, and he said, with the 5 years, again, okay, this is me demonstrating how many times I've tried giving scammers opportunities, and finally someone took me up on it. So this is all my previews, I guess, to the actual scammer I befriended. So I asked him on the phone, I said, okay, I'm unsure on the age of my roof. Can you tell me how old, like, what's the parameters? Like, why 5? He said, well, roofs under 5 years don't get damaged. This and that. And I said, oh, that's so intriguing, because if you go to a car dealership, if you're purchasing a brand new car, which is probably why they put their brand new cars inside, but I'm purchasing a 2020 or this current year's car, and then in the same parking lot, outdoors, the same dealership, there's other cars that aren't brand new or under that threshold. Did Mother Nature not drop her hail on those cars, or did Mother Nature drop her hail on all the cars in the area? So my roof, can you tell me, what does this company include that will prevent Mother Nature for a 5-year period of dropping hail on my roof? Can you please articulate that and put it in your policy and guarantee? Because where else did the 5-year extension, or where did the 5-year thing come from? And so all these other companies, and so he recognized, and I said, well, no, thank you. I think I'm going to hold off for now. And that gave me an idea. So I did certain things. However, we're going to keep going on the scam thing. Actually, no, I'll go on with this. We're going to talk about how to scam a scammer. Because that gave me an idea, because USAA is my home insurance. USAA is. And I had a couple more phone calls. Again, with this rule, the only criteria for them to come do your free estimate is that your roof must be over this certain age. And every time I asked over and over again, and I gave that same example, I said, how can you, like, I believe that hail fell on every house in the neighborhood in this local area. Can you please explain to me how roofs when they're 5 years old did not get hit by hail? And they weren't happy with me. They started going in cyclical patterns. And they said, well, roofs under that age have better wear, like they don't get damaged by hail. They didn't have a way to articulate themselves. And I was like, okay, are you sure you want to include that in your policy? And so I realized, I was like, oh my goodness. Where did this policy even originate from? It originated from insurance. Okay. And who coincidentally is my homeowner's insurance? Ugh, USAA. I love USAA. They may cost more money for their friendship and loyalty and business. However, I love them so much, even though everything that they've done to me, which is in my diary, I haven't gotten to it. I've been I've been intimate with USAA, more intimate than when I've ever had a threesome or foursome. And I will clarify, the foursome I had was with all females. Again, like I said, women are beautiful. Men are men. I use different things, like I can use whatever words I want to describe men and women. I call women beautiful and I call men men. Okay. Hopefully people understand my humor by now. Anyways, USA made a bad move on their part. I said, guys, you don't realize how good I can articulate myself and what I can perceive. Are you sure you want to do this? And they sent me official letters in the mail and made some very interesting decisions, like everyone else is doing. Anyways, I'll skip that. Let me go to this. I'm going to save that for later. Like I said, I have so many whimsical stories I can tell. And right now, people are demonstrating they don't want these stories by the engagement they're offering and the amount that they're sharing this with others. So because of that, I'm not going to save my goody-goody yum-drop stories for later. I'm going to keep telling these like surface-level stories, talking about helping the homeless, befriending the homeless, and befriending scammers. Because I challenge you. Put my feet up on the table. I want someone to approach me that demonstrates they understand what it means to be human. Please articulate to me what is so scary about someone labeled as homeless. What is so scary? How have you acted? What have you personally done when you came across someone as homeless or when you received a scam email? Tell me what you have done. Tell me what people have done. And even because I'm a part of this alumni group text. And I said, hey, is this real? Did anyone else receive these emails? I'm a little concerned about what is occurring. And everyone responded the exact same way. Ignore it, delete it. I deleted them. I was like, oh, it's fake, blah, 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 delete it. So again, can someone please step forward if they desire any paradigm that demonstrates what it means to be human? I'm waiting. Until that point comes, I'm going to keep making videos and dropping mic drops, demonstrating what you guys all preach and teach to everyone, what every paradigm in cognition preaches and teaches to everyone. Yet when push comes to shove, when actions demonstrate more than words, everyone keeps falling short, swinging and missing. Y'all, I'm putting out these invites and making them very obvious and clear. And no one is stepping up to the plate. Okay. Let me continue on. I'm so aggravated and annoyed. To be quite frank, especially with LDS. Especially with LDS. I'm so disappointed with you guys. You don't want to realize how ironic what your actions are demonstrating. You don't want to realize it. Okay? There's a reason you guys find my videos so extraordinary. It's almost as if I can perceive the human behind every label and view them with reverence and talk about them as they are in their innate perception and their innate existence, which is magnificent and extraordinary. However, not a single religious paradigm that I've ever come across, including LDS, has been able to demonstrate or meet me to the depths of which I have demonstrated on what it means to be human and what it means to be, to truly understand and revere and consider the sacredness of existence. However, I give multiple opportunities. It's going to come to a point in time where people that are watching these are going to be so overwhelmed with shame and embarrassment that they can't help but spread the good news based on their assumptions and assumptions and perceptions. Okay. Coincidentally, I'm at 30 minutes, so I'm going to stop here. Go to the next part of this where I actually introduce how I befriended a scammer. Like literally, I have FaceTime things. I have extraordinary things I'm about to share. Oh, he's so amazing. Bro, he met my mom. I'm going to show this some of the, because I downloaded my entire WhatsApp conversation and things that we've exchanged so people can perceive it. Look, I sent him this photo. That was for my birthday. On my birthday, he FaceTimed me to say happy birthday to me. Okay? I've seen his village. Oh, look. I FaceTimed him in his village in Nigeria and saw where he's at. Look. Tell me that's not other human beings trying to make themselves something greater than what they were born into. Again, I don't care about how people utilize how they want to learn. We met coincidentally through his efforts to create an extraordinary scam, which I haven't even gotten to. So let me get to that. I'm gonna stop this. I'm gonna pee. I might go get a snack. I might go get McDonald's. I'm gonna see if McDonald's will honor the free food that I won from their own competition. So I'm perturbed. I'm perturbed by, again, how much I have dealt with on a daily basis. I am met with disappointment after disappointment after disappointment. Everyone that I present opportunity to fails. Let's just put it that way. They fail with a big F. But F also stands for you can fly. You can either crash or burn or soar. People are all choosing to crash and burn. I'm tired of it. And that's why I'm making these videos. Maybe I'll go get a filet of fish. Because again, the symbolism behind that is my best friend, one of my best friends, labeled as Gail in my personal diaries, told me that whenever he was going fishing and he couldn't catch fish, like literally going fishing, and when he hit, like he was not getting any bites in his usual good luck places, he'll sometimes go to McDonald's and purchase a filet of fish to get some good luck. And so now I am fishing for souls to recognize, for humans to understand that I'm trying to invoke a state of world peace, y'all. Help me achieve my dream. Help me make something labeled as impossible become possible. So I'm about to go to McDonald's to get myself a filet of fish or whatever free food that I perhaps have available to me. And I'm definitely going to do it as continuing drinking to break further perceptions. Let me demonstrate to you the definition of a miracle and what's possible. Ugh. Peace be with you.